Brief, bright, back to the future. How to communicate like the highest performing, happiest, and most respected people in the world. Let's jump in. This is based on my 20 plus years of research and experience, spending time with some of the world's highest performers, people who are also extremely happy and fulfilled, and also people who earn and command the respect of everyone around them personally and professionally. Let's talk about brief. And let me give you a definition of brief. It means how you want to be brief. Okay, it's be short and to the point. Keep your communications concise. That is text messages of 1 sentence or less, emails of 5 sentences or less, one-on-one conversations of 5 minutes or less, and meetings of 15 minutes or less. And in terms of conversations and meetings, you can make them even shorter if you need to. What to avoid in terms of brevity. So you have our definition of brief. Here's what to avoid: over-explaining, having unnecessary long one-on-one conversations and meetings, and sending unnecessary long text messages and emails. And here's a quote on being brief from friend and mentor, Dr. Alan Weiss. Long-windedness can be perceived as indecisiveness, and it can cost you respect and trust. You have to be quick today. Concise communication is really what we have to be thinking about. You've got to be quick today. You've got to be to the point. So, in terms of brief, well, how do you be brief? Okay. How can we be more brief? We laid it out in terms of short text messages, short emails, 5 sentences or less, short meetings, short one-on-one conversations. Get to the point. Okay, so let's be specific in terms of how can we prepare to be brief, or how can we be brief in the moment? And here's my number one tip in terms of being brief in the moment, and that is pause before you answer a question, or pause before you make an observation. That could be a 3-second pause. It could be a 30-second pause. Pause as long as you need to organize your thoughts. That helps you get right to the point. And I've noticed that in some of the most respected, successful, highest performers I know, they take as long of a pause as they need to. Here's another great tip: prepare beforehand for the important conversations you need to have personally and professionally. Take a minute or a few minutes, or as long as you need, to prepare for conversations, for meetings. Anytime that you have to share your thoughts, take the time to prepare. Write down your thoughts. Take 60 seconds, write down your thoughts, bullet point them, and identify what's the one most important thing I need to say. Maybe 2, no more than 3, but really focus on the number one thing you need to say, whether it's in a meeting or say you have to have a difficult conversation in a relationship. Just take that time to pause before the conversation. This can be done in as little as 60 seconds. I do this all the time with my clients. Take 60 seconds just to prepare with what you to say what you need to say. Take the time to think about it. Just bullet point it out. Right? This can be a life changer and game changer for you both personally and professionally. A third thing is to really simplify and focus on the one most important thing when you need to say something. Everyone doesn't need to hear every thought in your head. Just focus on the one most important thing you need to say. Give yes or no answers to yes or no questions. If you agree with something, here's a separate point. If you agree with something, just say, I agree. You don't have to tell the person every reason why you agree. Okay. And lastly, if someone asks you what time it is, don't tell them how the watch is made. Just tell them what time it is. Keep it simple. Now, what you're going to find with brief, bright, and back to the future, this is really about our thoughts. Okay. Our words are just an extension of our thoughts. So if you have trouble with being brief, most likely you're an overthinker. You overthink things, you overcomplicate things. So this is all these exercises in terms of writing out your thoughts, taking the time to simplify. Okay, before you talk to someone, that's just an exercise in simplifying your thinking, right? The same way, same thing with pausing before you answer. Just pause, simplify your thoughts, and then express what you need to express. Now, in terms of respect, there's an inverse correlation between how much you talk and how much respect you have. So the more you talk, the less people respect you. Okay. And the less you talk, the more people respect you. So think about it that way, whether you're a leader, a parent, just in general, if you want to increase your respect and how much people respect you, less is more. Simplify your thoughts, get to the point, and say what you need to say. There's also an inverse correlation in terms of how effective you are and how much you talk and allow others to talk. Okay. So we want to, the less we say, the shorter our communications, our text messages and emails, meetings, one-on-one conversations, the more we can get done. All right. So there's a very practical purpose to brevity in business and also in life. Now, in personally, you'll have more time to do the things you love with the people you love. If you can just be to the point in your own communication and also challenge everyone around you to be to the point. The more to the point you are, the less words you waste and allow others to waste, the more free time you'll have to do the things you love with the people you love. That's hobbies, vacations, quality time with loved ones. All right. So there's some thoughts on brevity. Okay. Number 2, let's talk about bright. Okay. Good definition of bright here. Use positive, solution-oriented, continuous improvement-minded language. Okay, you want to focus on solutions, improvements. This is bright. You can think, sometimes people call this positivity. I'm going to give you a definition. My definition of brightness, positivity. I'm going to take it out of the clouds and put it into the dirt, as Brian Cain said. Let's make it practical. What's positivity and brightness? Gratitude, optimism, confidence, joy, solutions, and improvements. What to avoid in terms of being bright. I call this mindless negativity. This is gossiping, complaining, venting, condemning, blaming, criticizing. Okay. Here's a quote from Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, one of the greatest experts in the world on leadership. The best CEOs don't complain. I've known Alan Mullally. He was the CEO of the Ford Motor Company. And Francis Hesselbein. She was the CEO of the Girl Scouts for over 30 years. I've never heard them whine. I've never heard them complain. I've never heard them say, poor me. Never. They say, I am up. I am positive. Life is good. Let's make the best of every day. That's one of my all-time favorite quotes right there for leaders. And this is my own personal experience with the greatest leaders I've ever known. And I'm going to put my parents, my mom and dad at the very top of that list. I have never heard them complain. I've never heard them whine. I've never heard them say, poor me. And this is 44 years on this planet. I've never heard them complain once. Okay. So how can we apply this? Again, how to be more bright in our life. If you are mindlessly negative, okay, focus again on gratitude, focus on optimism, focus on the things that are doing well, focus on your strengths, focus on the things you enjoy, focus on solutions to problems, focus on improvements. There is an inverse correlation in terms of how negative you are and how much people respect you. If you think about someone you know who's constantly venting, complaining, blaming, making excuses, okay, and how much you respect them, how mindlessly negative they are, and how much you respect them, inverse correlation, okay? Reverse that, the most positive, solution-oriented people you know, confident, positive, joyous, grateful, people you know, you respect and admire them the most. The ones who you never hear complain, right? You never hear them blame, you never hear them condemn others, right? Our respect is here. In terms of our own personal happiness, again, because our words are just an extension of our thoughts. So brightness in our words is just an extension of our thoughts. So we want to do everything we can to remove any mindless negativity from our thoughts, because there's an inverse correlation in terms of our happiness, high happiness, low stress. Okay, when we communicate and we think in a term in ways that are bright. Okay, again, you want to be more successful, less stress. Think in terms of bright. Okay, again, things you're grateful for, things you do well, optimism for a better tomorrow, solutions, improvements, and things you are enjoying in the moment. This is crucial. The most happy, successful people I know avoid mindless negativity at all costs, and they focus on, again, what's going well, improvement, solutions, gratitude, brightness. Okay. You'll be a light in the world. Now, again, I've said this before in other conversations that we've had here on the podcast. Your friends and family aren't your therapists. Okay. They're not qualified to do it, and they have their own problems. They don't need to hear yours all the time. So what do you do if you have real problems, which we all have real problems from time to time, and some people have great, tremendous problems and burdens right now? What do we do? Okay, talk to somebody, ask for help. Ask for help from a trusted friend or family member, from a therapist, from a doctor, a spiritual advisor. Ask for help. If you don't know what to do next, if you're struggling, the last thing you want to do is just continuously vent to people. Okay, again, you're putting your burden on them. They already have their own problems. Go to them, go to trusted friends and family members, go to trusted advisors such as coaches, mentors, therapists, doctors, spiritual advisors, and go to them with your challenge or your problem and say, I need help here. Let's help me find a solution here. How can I improve my situation? That's how you want to show up to them. Dr. Jason Selk calls it a relentless solution focus. I highly, highly recommend this book. It's one of my all-time favorite books on success and happiness, performance, and positive impact. It's called Relentless Solution Focus by Dr. Jason Selk. Let's talk about Back to the Future, number 3. Our definition of Back to the Future: hold future-focused discussions. Okay. What to avoid: long history lessons, backstories, archaeological digs, long narratives, and he said, she said conversations. Here's a quote on going back to the future from Gunnar Peterson. He was a former director of strength and endurance for the LA Lakers NBA team, and also one of the most successful personal trainers in the world. Gunnar says, and he's been around the best in the world in the areas of entertainment and sport and business. And he said the athletic champions, the high achievers, they rarely talk about what they have done in the past. They talk about what they are going to do. The athletic champions, they don't talk about what they won last year. They talk about this year. They want to win it. Okay, back to the future. Let's be specific here. If you talk about the past in terms of your thoughts, if you're talking about the past too much, you're reliving the past, particularly bad situations that already happened, okay, that just tells me that you are thinking about the past too much, particularly the negative past. Really, the only time we want to think about the past is to shine a positive spotlight on the things that we did well and to learn from our mistakes and bad situations. We just don't want to keep talking about the past over and over again. If you do that, that just tells me mentally you're in the past too much. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to focus on the present as much as possible. What can we do today to make today better than yesterday? How can I enjoy today? And how can I be optimistic about the future? And how can we focus on making tomorrow better than today? Now, the most successful, happy, highest performing organizations I've ever been around, the executive teams and all the people within the organization, they also communicate in a manner that's brief, bright, and back to the future collectively. I mean, if you go into an executive team meeting or a leadership meeting, and the highest performing, happiest, most successful organizations, they speak in terms that are bright. They're bright and to the point. They are brief and to the point. They are bright, meaning they're focused on solutions, improvements, what's going well, how can we make things better, and they're focused on the future, today and tomorrow. They're not focused on the bad, rehashing the past over and over again. Okay, how do we apply this right now, today? Number one, I challenge you to, I'm going to give you this 30-day challenge. Okay. 30 days. I want you to pick one of these: brief, bright, or back to the future, whichever one you think you need to work on the most and improve. And that's step one. Pick one of those 3. Step 2 is to choose a charity, your favorite charity, and choose a denomination. Oftentimes I have clients choose $5 or $10 or $20. Number 3, I want you to enlist one person professionally and one person personally. Okay. Usually this person has to be someone who will be honest and direct with you, number 1. And number 2, someone you spend a lot of time with. They are going to point out every time you are not either brief, bright, or back to the future. And then you must make a donation to your favorite charity. Every time you don't do that, $5, $10, $20 or more if you choose to. Most of my clients choose their significant other, okay, as the person personally, and then professionally, their superior, because usually these people they spend a ton of time with, and also these people will also be the most honest with them and challenge them to be either brief, bright, or back to the future. This is the fastest, easiest, and most effective way I have found to dramatically improve quickly your ability to be brief, bright, or back to the future. Do this for 30 days. It will be life-changing for you. Okay, lastly, I want to tell you that the happiest and most successful people I know, they listen the most and they talk the least. Okay, that's the brevity. The happiest and most successful people I know, they are the most relentlessly bright, meaning solution oriented, improvement minded, grateful, optimistic. They talk about their strengths and things they enjoy. And also, the happiest and most successful people I know, they are focused on today. They're very present to the moment, enjoying the moment and giving their best effort in the moment. And they're focused on how can we make tomorrow better than today. I wish you an elevated life of success, happiness, and high impact.